The conviction that you need to replace your oil after a specific number of miles is found across the world, simply as far as kilometers rather than miles. It's something we underestimate. If such countless individuals trust it, it should be valid. Things being what they are. The fundamental advocate of this conviction are organizations that benefit off it. This legend is far and wide to such an extent that it even has its very own Wikipedia page. Truly, you don't have to change your motor oil so frequently. The suggested cutoff for replacing the oil fluctuates as indicated by the vehicle makers. However, it's normally somewhere near 7,500 miles, 12,000 kilometers. A few vehicles, as BMWs, just need an oil change each 15,000 miles, 24,000 kilometers. The reasonable activity is to simply elude your vehicle's manual. This one isn't simply broadly accepted, but at the same time is offered confidence by being on notice hints around service stations. The hypothesis is that when the mobile phone interfaces with a close-by tower, it by one way or another makes gas fumes burst into flames. While we don't know where it begins from, it absolutely has no premise in science. There has been no instance of a phone causing a fire throughout the entire existence of corner stores. There was one episode wherein a 21-year-old understudy's telephone was believed to be liable for a fire. On additional review, however, they understood that the fire was brought about by something different. While it's as yet a smart thought to remain off your telephone for a spot, utilizing it can't cause a fire at corner stores. Vehicles in motion pictures are very unpredictable. They explode on fire at the smallest burden, regardless of whether it's a hit by a solitary shot or just by colliding with a tree. On the off chance that a vehicle tumbles off a precipice, it's practically sure that it will go up in a huge bundle of fire. This isn't simply offending to the experts who ensure that vehicles are protected to drive, however it additionally influences individuals' dynamic during a fender bender. Individuals have been accounted for to not move towards smashed vehicles for the dread that they will get fire. We're not saying that slammed vehicles have never detonated, it's simply uncommon. Mythbusters has contributed a ton toward our comprehension of what can make a vehicle detonate. In the entirety of their examinations, losing one a precipice, they couldn't cause a blast. It was exclusively in the wake of altering their vehicles to be strangely risky that they at last figured out how to get a major, realistic blast on effect. This one numerous not appear to be that implausible, as any individual who has figured out how to drive from a more established individual could affirm. The idea that purchasing gas toward the beginning of the day gives you a higher incentive for your cash is broadly held. That is likewise presumably the purpose for the mysteriously enormous lines at service stations in the morning. The regular insight goes that since it's cold in the first part of the day, and the gas is denser, you get a greater amount of it. While it sounds deductively precise, it's truly not, as gas is put away in an underground tank beneath the station, where the temperature is reliable. Indeed, if it's an unfrequented station, and the gas in the upper lines isn't moving, it might have an effect. However, it would be too moment to even consider caring about. It's regularly held that protection for red vehicles costs more than different tones. Around 44% of Americans think along these lines. However, it's false. This thought can presumably be followed back to the conviction that red vehicles are in more mishaps. However, there's no proof to demonstrate that. By the same token, On the off chance that there was measurable proof to demonstrate that red vehicles are more risky, wouldn't the public authority boycott them? Red vehicles don't cost more to safeguard, either. As the shade of the vehicle isn't a factor in your protection rate calculations, insurance relies upon numerous different elements, however, similar to your vehicle's time of procurement, make, model, and motor size. Presently, we're not saying that red is the shading your vehicle ought to be, however, you shouldn't dismiss it since it's obviously less protected.